No test, no testimony. You have to go through this. How are you going to teach other women? How are you going to tell other women to stick it out? How are other women going to look up to you? You have to let them know that you've been through. So you got to stick it out, baby. So I felt like it was nowhere to escape. I didn't know who to talk to because again, you got this big name, my mother's name plus your name. And it's like, where do you go? Who do you turn to? So I felt stuck.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody thinks,
you were being built up.
I don't, you all tried to make me this cookie cutter. I'm not going to be a cookie cutter. I'm going to be what I want to be, whether you like it or not. I don't care that my mother is who she is. That's her. She's lived her life. You made a name for yourself. Now let me make a name for myself by just being Terrie.
Absolutely. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Too Skilled to Fail podcast. Today we have a very special guest. This guest has graced the audience and graced the stage and graced the show all over Las Vegas. And so I'm happy to have her back on the show. This year is all about transparency. I want each and every guest to come in and be more and more transparent. If you come once, twice, or 50 times on the show, the more you open up, the more you share, and the more you can give back to others and also release for yourself. So today, Terrie Rimson, here we go. We're going to be talking to her again about her life and her journey. Welcome again, Terrie.
Thank you for having me.
I love it. Last time we met up, we were in the studio. Now we're in the home studio.
Yeah, I love the home studio.
This is where we are. This is where it gets a little bit more cozy. This is where I want everyone to be a little bit more comfortable. So relax. You don't have to be so stiff the whole time.
Okay.
And we're going to just talk about journey. You and I talked about we wanted to be more transparent with this show.
Yes.
We wanted to open up a little more, whatever you wanted to share and however you wanted to share it, whatever way you want to share it.
Okay.
And so here we go, talking about Terrie, that childhood in our last episode, which we will clip to this show.
So that's been my challenge here is trying to find singers that really get it, because some people feel like just because you can hold a note, you can sing. It's a chemistry to it. Just because you got 5 singers, if there's no chemistry there, that means nothing.
A 5-part harmony.
Yeah, exactly.
What they say.
And even with the 5-part or 4-part or 3-part harmony, it still has to be a chemistry. Thank you.
We talked a lot about your music history, the experiences in the music, how you got here to Las Vegas and how you're gracing the stages here. But we're going to talk about young Terrie and take it up from there.
Okay.
All right. So again, you were born and raised?
Oh, in Oakland, California.
Oakland, California, right here.
Yes.
Tell us a little about that.
Oh, it was wonderful. I had a wonderful childhood. You know how they say you grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth? I'm going to say that's what happened with me growing up. Everything a little girl could want. My mother, she's very well known. She's a legend. She's well known in the church. So a lot of people in the church know her. So she made sure that I had everything that I wanted because I was the only girl, 2 brothers, only girl, and the baby. So I basically had everything I wanted. Went to modeling school, music school, acting school, ballet, whatever you could think of. She tried to make sure she involved me in it to keep me busy because, she's about this girly stuff. So she wanted me to stay a girl because there were 2 boys older than me. So she was trying to keep me kind of feminine and dainty. So I was always involved in something that was going to kind of catapult me in my future. I was in pageants. Matter of fact, I was in Miss Oakland at age probably like 8 or 9. I won that competition and I was in the big parade that they had in Oakland. And so, yeah, I had a wonderful childhood. No complaints about my childhood at all. It was nothing that I wanted that I didn't get. Dressed very well, lived in the finest of homes, went to the best schools that we could go to. And I had a great childhood. Yeah.
That's good. And so here we go now. Going into childhood, grew up in Oakland, stayed in Oakland. So being a teenager, you're there in Oakland as well, or did you move out of
Well, we
Oakland?
left Oakland when I turned 10, and we moved to Philadelphia. My mother was going there to assist Mother Irene Oakley, which was her spiritual godmother. So we had to pick up and move, and the climate change was it was terrible.
Huge.
Yes, because we didn't, you're going from Cali to Philadelphia. So we moved to Philadelphia and left all of our friends, surroundings, what we grew up under, and yeah, it was a culture shock. And when I got there, I adjusted, of course. My brothers, of course, they did, and it took them a while. Me, quickly adjusted, grew up there. She still tried to make sure I stayed busy in acting, music. Went to Overbrook High School with Will Smith. Will Smith graduated a year before me, so me and him were friends. So I went there. I was a music student there. Graduated. Tried to go to junior college. It did not work out. You know, I messed up. They was done. The
Okay.
dean was like, she got to go.
Okay. Now that's the stuff I want to talk about. What were you doing, Terrie? You grew up in a house with your mother in church and upbringing, but you almost got kicked out. Well, couldn't go move forward because
I could not. I could not. Listen, I wasn't the best student in high school. Now, when it came down to the musical part, yes. When it came down to the educational part, no. My comprehension is very short. I can't really comprehend a whole lot at one time. And then we were church babies. So a lot of that, I'm going to blame on them because half of the time we were in church. It's like, so how are you expecting me to leave church at 11 o'clock at night? Then you want me to get up and go to school the next morning. So as a child, I used to tell stories. I was sick. I didn't feel well. And because I was the baby and the girl, she'd be like, oh, well, you could stay home.
Oh.
And so this was perpetuated throughout the years of me growing up, you know, being in church again, late at night, but then having to get up and go to school early in the morning. And then my mother feeling bad. So then I would stay home. Then I became of age in high school. She didn't really control it too much. So if I was tired from church, I wasn't going to school. And so
that was what she wanted you. That was where she really wanted you to be.
Yes.
You're going to learn. You're going to
Exactly.
learn in the house of God. But I mean, like you said, with all these things you did propelled you to the industries and the things that you're in right now. So
Yes.
music, entertainment, being on stage, being present all the time, and positioning yourself, especially pageantry. That teaches you
Yes,
so much.
it
And we've had
does.
some conversations on there here because pageantry was my background, and we've had some conversations about what it brings to you and how much, I guess, attention and respect that you earn for yourself, and how much you put yourself out there to where you don't want to go out there and just be any kid. You want to be that American Idol, that
Yes.
first top model or whatever it is, and a steward of the community that you're in. And that's what pageantry gave to me. And for you, pageantry and church and everything else gave you what you're doing right now. And so
Yes.
when were you able, or if you have ever been able to really release and let your hair down?
Oh, now.
Why now?
And well, really, it started probably by maybe 8 years ago, but I've actually grabbed hold to it that I'm able to be myself now. Number one, I'm divorced. So I had to learn myself all over again within the last almost 6 years. I've learned myself, learned what Terrie likes, because I was always living in a box, you know, because again, my mother was a national figurehead in the church. Then I ended up getting married and marrying a preacher who became a pastor. And then from that, then he went, you know, it matriculates. You become superintendent. From superintendent, then you become he became an apostle. From an apostle, then you became a bishop. And then I was just like, okay.
Right. That, and I will have to go back. That set you up. This is pageantry. So I'll tell you my example. Being in pageantry, I felt like I could not fully be myself because the expectations for everyone, for me being the pageant winner and having to do all the, you know, show face and show up at different places, you show up in a certain way.
Right.
I can tell a pageant sister from across the room any day.
Yeah.
And you're showing up. But I honestly, the reason why I didn't keep on pursuing it, once I got back into it, which is years after I first did one, once I got back into it, I was going to pursue it. And I was like, wait, I feel like I'm not being myself. I'm not being authentic. This is okay. Yes, I love all this stuff. I love being able, I loved my mission of what I was actually in the pageantry for. Like, you know, what are you really here for? And that was about, you know, education, and that's what I promoted. So I had that voice. But what I didn't love is that I felt like this is not me.
Right.
And so tell me more. I want you to tell me more about that. So you being from pageantry, then growing up and being in a relationship where you are, and your family upbringing too, where you had to be kind of on and present and very whoever this person was. Tell me about who that person was, married, and then right out of
So you want me
your
to start
parents'
from the
home.
marriage part?
Let's start about that.
Okay. It was very stressful. Very
Plain and simple, huh?
Yeah. Stressful. Because again, I'm going from childhood to that. And so it's more stress because, you know, being a child, I had to be a certain way because of who my mother was. And then you end up marrying somebody, you marry into a family who had a name just like we did. that name rang throughout the organization that we were a part of. If you say Rimson, everybody was like, oh. And then when they knew I was marrying a Rimson and I'm a gardener, you're a Rimson, everybody's like, oh, this is just wonderful. The gardeners and the Rimsons, it was pressure. So then when I became a Rimson, it was more pressure. So eyes are on you to make sure that you look apart, make sure that you're going to act like a first lady, look like a first lady, talk like a first lady. Certain things you can't do, certain things you can't wear, certain places you can't go, certain things you can't do. And it kind of like was a shocker because I didn't realize that I had to drop what I was doing. My mother did allow me to do the pageantry and the modeling and do it. But then when I married the preacher,
yeah, that part is
all that it was like that was all out the window. Right. So I ended up taking on him. To me, I took on his coat, and he wrote a book about that too.
You took on his coat.
I took on his coat.
Took on his coat.
Yeah. I took on his coat, which was his weight, his pressures, his struggles. I took that on, and by me taking that on, and because I was taught how to be submissive, how to be the wife that would be silent, how to be the wife that would keep him covered, then that became pressure for me. So then all of that, going to school to be the model and be petite and eat the right foods, that became pressure, which made me gain weight. And so then my self-esteem began to drop. And then I didn't feel like I was enough. Even me feeling like I was cute. My mother used to always tell me, you're a pretty girl. I didn't feel that way when I became the wife to a preacher, because it was just so much stress and having to appease not just him, but his peers and then those that were over him. And then each year I just kept gaining more and more weight, and my look started to fluctuate. And then after I had my son, I couldn't lose the weight. So it's like you got weight before the baby, and then when you have the baby, you still got the weight. And then my mother's like, baby, you got to get rid of that weight, because she was always a stickler about looking nice in your clothes. And I was like, I'm trying. I was going to weight loss places to lose the weight, and all the stuff that they had out there. My mother was investing in me even when I was married, to get the weight off, to make sure I looked nice. She would buy me certain clothes. And then as time went on and he became a pastor, he was making enough money. He started trying to get me in certain clothes. I couldn't stay in the clothes because the weight kept going up and down because of the pressure of being married to a pastor. And so many women that are in the church think that's the limelight. You don't realize what you're taking on, because you're not only taking on the pressures of being part of the church, but you're taking on the pressure of that man coming out of himself to be something that his peers want him to be. Or he's looking at those that are excelling and he's trying to make sure he keeps up with them so he can gain that respect, which again brings pressure into the home. And so from him doing that, then finally he tells me, the Lord called me to pastor. Well, I think that's when the floodgates opened up, and that's where the struggle hit really hard. Yeah.
Realization. So I love that you've kind of gone through this journey of, this is where I was, this is where it came from, this is how I felt. I actually want to ask questions about this because it's interesting to me. Like when we fall in love with somebody, we fall in love for whatever reason that is.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to ask questions to kind of peel that apart a little bit more.
Girl.
Right? Because you fell in love. What did you fall in love with?
You know what? I was young. I was 21.
You were young. Yeah.
21. And honestly, I shouldn't have got married. If I go back and look at that, they should have never encouraged us to get married. And not only that, he was married before. So look at that. I'm 21. You've been married before. You have a child. This is fresh to me. I'm coming from all of that. To me, I'm going somewhere. I'm going on auditions and stuff. All that is now pushed to the side, because I feel like back then, that's what they were teaching us, is you got to marry into a good family so they can take good care of you.
Right.
And that's what it was. And so I got married because I'm thinking, okay, this is good stock. And he was so handsome. And he is. He's aging now. He's not, when you age, you lose some of it. But he was very handsome. So that helped out too. Right. And then he wasn't a stranger to the family. I grew up calling his mom and dad auntie. So his marriage, it didn't work out. So of course they're seeking, and he's seeking to find out who else could fit to help him as he moved forward in his life and where his goals were. And that, back then the pinnacle is, you got to be a pastor and you want to become a bishop. That's the ultimate, become a bishop. So, all of that, it just took me out of myself.
Yeah.
And
then back.
Yeah. So I guess I say I married him because of he was fine. And then the name.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I totally understand that. I mean, given somebody, my mother's from the South, and I had a conversation with her when I was able to. I had a conversation with her about what she wanted to do when she got older. If she didn't have kids, what did she want to do if she got older? She was like, I never thought about what I wanted to do when I got older. You marry, have kids, raise your family, but she did not think, this is back in the 50s. She was born in the 50s, but by the time in the 70s, but she didn't think about being anything more than a homemaker.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's got to be really hard. But you had dreams and ambitions and things that you sought out for. And then it comes down, you have now the pressures of the family, but then you also then have your own child.
Yeah.
You bring someone else into the mix, into the fold and things like that. Question for you is, at what point did you decide that you wanted out? And it could have been very early on, but at what point did you decide, I want something different for myself?
I'm going to say about 22 years into the marriage.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I'm not living for Terrie. And I have to live for Terrie. And I prayed about it. At this time, my son was of age, and Torrin was living in the house with us. And we were all close, very close, because I leaned on him, my son, and Torrin. Because at the time, it was the marriage was like rocky. It was bad when we were in Michigan. It was bad when we were in different parts of Michigan. But I had the face. I kept the face. Never told my mother anything. I just kept that face. And once we went back to New Jersey. We moved back to New Jersey, where I had left from Philadelphia, outside, New Jersey's outside of Philly. So when we got back to New Jersey, I'm still this face. But I'm growing in my music. My music is now, I record a gospel song. And then I noticed that I'm feeling my old self coming back, meaning I want to be able to tap into hearing a little bit of that secular sound. I love the secular sound. I do. I love R&B. I love jazz. And I'm like, I've been starched down because I'm married to a pastor. So I told my son, can we take one of my songs that I like and kind of make it a little bit more, contemporary? And that's what he did. Doing the contemporary of Blessing Me made me want to do more. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. This is me. This is what I always like to do. And I prayed about it. And I was like, Lord, I want to do secular again. Right. My mother never stopped me from doing secular, even though she was a national church, well-known evangelist and whatever. She never stopped us from listening to secular music. But when I got married, I kind of calmed that down a little bit. But then I found myself still listening to it and still liking it. But I shut it out because of what I was married to and that he was around. So I had to kind of keep it at a minimal. But then, 22 years in, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pray about this thing. Right. And I did. And God gave me an answer and told me, yes, do it.
Absolutely.
Just don't forget me.
It was always in there.
Yeah.
For you always had it in you for you to be able to do it, and just kept on calling it. And that's what I want people to always just seek, that. Whatever keeps on calling you, even if it feels random or crazy or unattainable at the moment, seek that out.
Yeah.
Try it. Experiment with it a little bit. And it sounds like that's what you did when you just said, I'm going to just do it. I'm going to just try this secular music.
I did.
And unfortunately, sometimes we have to just branch off and do things on our own. The people that we like, love, favor are not going to always come with us and be a part of the ride.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Yeah.
Regardless of whatever anyone else says. And so you, after 22 years, decided to make a change.
I had to, because I felt like I was losing myself. I was losing Terrie. And then I had been through so much, and I was ready to just break out. And that was the only way for me to break out. I had been through, like I said, the marriage was from day one. The marriage, the first week into the marriage, problems started. I started noticing different things, and I'm young. So when I bring it to your attention, then you deny it, and then I try to go along with it. Then it pops up again, and then it just became a pattern. And this just went on for years and years and years. It would be good, then it would be bad. And I kept trying to be the wife that they told me to be. Only person that really knew what was going on was my mother-in-law. And this is what she would say: no test, no testimony. You have to go through this. How are you going to teach other women? How are you going to tell other women to stick it out? How are other women going to look up to you? You have to let them know that you've been through. So you got to stick it out, baby. I know these men aren't perfect. You know, I know this. This I do know.
Right.
But you got to stick it out. So I depended on her. I would go to her. Then I got a little older into the marriage, and I'm like, I'm tired of going to you because you really ain't helping this out.
Right.
You telling me you praying because she be like, I'm praying, ain't nothing but the devil. That was her favorite line. Terrie, it ain't nothing but the devil. I get that. But it's damaging me.
Absolutely.
And it's messing with my self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm trying to be the perfect wife. You know, and I believe and I feel that I was the ideal wife. Perfect? No. Ideal? Yes. I made sure that the house was, you know, kept clean. I cooked. I raised my son to the best of my ability. I was a first lady. I was just, you know, working in the ministry and helping back up anything he wanted to do in the ministry. I was there to support it. You know, we moved from building to building. Here I go as a wife, dragging my baby, and we're right there. No matter where your church is, it could be north, south, east, west, because we moved like 12 times.
It's a lot.
I went along with it because I had my mother-in-law saying, baby, it's going to be okay. You got to have a testimony. Yeah. But when I got to the 22nd year, I was like, okay, Terrie got to live for Terrie.
Yeah.
And I told my son and I told Torrin, I said, this is what the Lord told me.
Right. Sometimes we have to go inward, whether whatever religion and background someone has, we got to think about that. You know, you speaking the Lord speaking to you. It's going inward.
Yeah.
I can't listen to the outside noise. I can't do any of that. I need to just listen to my inner self. Like we were talking about, it's going to be pulling you. It's going to call you to do and move and make changes, even though it's scary. And you are now across the country.
Yes. Yes.
You are now across the country doing what was meant for you to do.
Absolutely.
And here you said about 8 years ago, if I remember correctly, you said about 8 years ago, you started that journey to say, I'm going to do and say and tell this story. You're telling more and more of the story today.
Yes.
I don't know how much, and this is public. You telling your story today, but here's the thing: what your mother-in-law said was correct. I didn't say 22. I'm not going to agree with 22 years of it, but
Girl,
that's a long time.
That is a long time.
To be honest, I'm not going to say 22 years of it, but if you've gone through it, you can be able to be a blessing to somebody else and share the story. Not to say that you have to stick in it, or if you've seen it. And for me, it hasn't been my story, but it was my mother's.
Okay.
Seeing my mother go through something, you know, a lot, and the trauma and the turmoil. I mean, we all have our different stories. I have other stories I can tell of my own. But seeing my mother, what she went through, I said, oh, I will never. I will never. You know, and my children may say the same thing about some of my things. Oh, I would never do what my mother did. I'm going to show you better than I can tell you. And so this is what you're doing now. You're showing women how, you know, 22 years of it. And I want to dig into that a little bit more for you to be able to.
Girl,
yes.
You got to, girl.
I'm pulling. I'm trying to pull
okay.
this out because the lessons learned. I really want to know about those lessons learned.
Yeah.
I mean, the pivotal moment for you to move away, 22 years in it, again, it's a long time, but you moving away, you starting to work on you and self 8 years ago. How was that for you? I mean.
Oh, man. You know, I'm encouraged, you know, because a lot of women don't make it out. Mentally, they're gone. But for some, I didn't even realize how strong I was to even step out and tell him, listen, I'm going to be doing R&B, and I'm just letting you know. I don't need your approval. I'm letting you know what I'm going to do because you are a pastor. And he was like, no, I support you 100%. But I really believe that the reason why they really supported it because they thought it was going to be fast money. They thought this was going to help to undergird what they were trying to build. Because all the time they would be like, well, is the record making any money? When are you going to go here? When are you going to go there? And my son had to keep reminding his dad, it takes time. It takes time. It doesn't work that way for everybody. It takes time. And I really believe that he felt like it was going to be moving quicker than what it did because I started doing different things. I went to Atlanta. I had a publicist. I had my own my own docu. If you look it up now, it's all about Terrie. So we were filming and doing that kind of stuff. So that was all on the internet. You know, I was doing concerts in different cities. So it was picking up, but it wasn't moving fast enough and it wasn't bringing in enough cash flow. He was the cash cow at the time. So, you know, of course, he was giving me the money to do what I needed to do because he probably was expecting that it would come back a little quicker. When it didn't, by this time, he had became a bishop. And when he became a bishop, that's when I noticed things started changing, even for the worse, as far as my career. Now, as far as the marriage, it was just already messed up because the foundation had been messed up, and then nothing had changed. He continued to do what he was doing for all the years that he did it, all the way up until 30 years of marriage. So you say 22, it went 30 total that I actually dealt with this on and off. It was always that same situation, that same struggle. I'm going to do better, but you never did better. You would calm down for a minute, then it was somebody else. And so there I was. So like I said, at 22 years, that's when God started dealing with me about my career, what I needed to do, started connecting me to the right people. And then things just started building itself and kept building itself. And then finally, when COVID hit, he said the Lord told him to close the church, the one there in Philadelphia. He closed the church. So I'm looking like, okay, by that time I had been coming back and forth to Vegas. I was performing at the Rio. I was performing in LA. So I was flying back and forth doing my R&B. Yep, sure was doing R&B and gospel, just flying to different places. And when he said the Lord told him to close the church, great. So what are you doing now? Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to stay here because there's a church in New York that I may be looking into. I was like, oh, no. The Lord told me I need to go to Vegas because I'm going to get a residency there. I said, so I'm letting you know that I need to go to Vegas. He said, well, you can go to Vegas. I'm going to stay here in New Jersey, and I'm going to, look into this church that's available in New York. And then whenever you have to fly back here to Jersey, come on back. And I'm saying to myself, I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
That's going to be my out because I know what the Lord told me. And so I moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
And he ended up coming. He said the church, whatever he was trying to do, that didn't go through. He ended up coming to Vegas. We were in Vegas a good 3 months. And within that good 3 months, that thing started up again. And you're here and you're doing your thing here, right here in the city with somebody right here in the city. You're caught out with the person that you're with now, you're married to in the city. And I was like, oh, this what we doing?
Right. You personally didn't come here for that.
I did not.
You didn't.
I came for a fresh start. I came here to build my career because God told me he said this was the blessed place. He said Vegas was the blessed place.
And to say blessed place in Vegas sounds crazy to me. So I will say that.
Yeah.
But it was your opportunity.
Yeah.
It was your place, for anyone, like Vegas. Vegas, opportunity can be anywhere.
Yeah.
Opportunity could have been, across the town in the same city you were in, just being away from where you were at.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so, and then what? After that 3 months?
After that 3 months, when he, decided he wanted to do what he was doing and not telling me what he was doing, and I found out what he was doing, and I confronted him on the situation, he was like, I'm out. I'm done. Well, you could have told me that before we left Philly. Because before we left Philly, when he said he was staying, I was like, well, what does that look like? Me and my son are going to Vegas and you're staying. What does that look like? Are you trying to say that you want to separate now? No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. So I felt it then, but because you didn't agree with what I was saying, then I'm like, oh, maybe we're going to work through this. Maybe it's going to get better when we get to Vegas. We get to Vegas and you're doing the same thing. So it ended in Vegas 3 months, about three to 3.5 months in.
And there you are.
And there I am.
You got here though.
I did.
You got here.
I did.
And that's unfortunate. It definitely is unfortunate. I am huge on being able to pick and poke things. So I'm going to poke a little bit.
Poke on.
If that's okay.
It is.
I'm listening to everything you're saying. This is partially my HR hat, so I'm sorry, but
It's
partially
okay.
not. As you've been talking, we talked about things that you've done because the expectations that someone else put on you.
Yeah.
All right. And so I want to talk about that expectations that for whatever reasons, there's expectations someone puts on us and some things we put on ourselves. Right. You're saying your expectation was for you to be like this steward in the church or the stewardess in the church and to uphold all this, the things that were, how do you say, is maybe like the ideology of what a first lady should be, a wife should be, and all these things like that. For teaching moments for somebody else, one of the huge things that I see is what I think is the hardest thing is you holding those expectations that someone had on you or you felt they had on you.
Yeah.
And figuring out, like, to me, I would say those things are the things that I would love for someone to say, hey, stop expecting somebody,
Mm-hmm.
in this case, the husband,
Mm-hmm.
or stop expecting him to be a certain way. You know, whatever he said he was going to do for you, he said he was going to do one thing. You felt it in your gut, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to me. The hard part would be like, how much of that do you want to take on yourself, Terrie, and say, you know what, I did this. I did part of this,
Mm-hmm.
right? I had some kind of shoe in for this. So because then I want other people to just think about it. Because when I think about stuff, I'm like, you know what, I had options. I could have left.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done something different. I felt like that was the right thing to do until God called you and said, it's time for you to go to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to talk about that. How much expectations did somebody have on you that you feel like you could have controlled?
I was afraid to leave early because number one, I didn't want my son to be without a father. Number two, remember, I didn't go through with college, so I didn't have much stability under me to undergird me if I left. Like, where am I going to go? I didn't want to go back to my mother. I didn't want to go back to Philadelphia at all. I didn't even like Philly. Couldn't stand Philadelphia. Growing up, when I first got there, it was cute. But as I grew up, I didn't like Philly. So I was like, I can't go back there. Where am I going to go? So that was it. I wasn't skillful enough to be able to undergird myself, to take care of myself. And then my son. And then another thing, through all of that I went through, I love the people that were at the church because they looked out for me. They loved me. They enjoyed my ministry. You know, I would teach, I would sing, I would do different things with the women's department. I was over the choir. I was over the praise team. And then my heart, I'm like, because, you know, they always say it's a wise woman that could build a house and a foolish woman that could tear it down. So I'm like, you know, if I leave now, this is going to rip this church. And then what? Then you got the souls that are scattered. So then I kept carrying the weight of others.
Right.
So I felt like it was nowhere to escape. I didn't know who to talk to because, again, you know, you got this big name, my mother's name plus your name. And it's like, where do you go? Who do you turn to? So I felt stuck.
Yeah, you were talking to, and I love it. Thank you. And this is what I wanted to hear, because you were talking to so many people who feel stuck, who feel like they're holding the burdens from somebody else and from a past of somebody else, you know, carrying one of the things I do in one of my coaching sessions, talking about brick of burdens and carrying those burdens from everything else and the expectations. So I'm glad you said that, because that's what someone's saying, like, these are the things I'm thinking about. Like, what do I have to hold on to? My education based, or, you know, I don't have a way out right now. Again, and then also, again, you're raising your son. Who wanted to raise your kids in that two households? Most people don't want to. If it's unhealthy, it's a better thing to do in hindsight. But when you're in it, you're like, no, I set out to have a kid and be a family and be a wife, and this is what we're doing, right? And it's gonna get tough. You know, mother-in-law, it's gonna get tough. But just stick through it. So I get that. So I like that you're saying that, and and whenever timing for everyone is whenever they feel is best for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're pushed and pushed, but I know in each and every person, and you know this too, it is always gonna be digging at you.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you basically are talking about now, that it poked at you so much to where when you end up moving, you're like, I have to do this. Yeah. I have to get up and do it. The timing was your timing.
Yeah.
And now you're over here ministering to people still.
Because I love ministry. I love people. I have a heart for people. I love God. And then I have a gift where I know that once I speak to you, that God's going to tell me what to say to you. You know, my tone, my voice, my spirit. I got all this love to give. You know, it was taken advantage of, you know. But it was good for me. It was good for me because it made me who I am this day that I'm talking to you. Never thought that I would be in a seat like this to talk about it. Been wanting to talk about it, but just the timing was not right. I needed to be able to heal from some things. I needed to be able to feel strong enough to talk about it. I needed to know which direction my life was going in order to talk about it. And now it's like, you know, I don't care what anybody thinks, you know.
Being built up.
You know, I don't. You know, you all tried to make me this cookie cutter. I'm not going to be a cookie cutter. I'm going to be what I want to be, whether you like it or not. I don't care that my mother is who she is. That's her. She's lived her life. You made a name for yourself. Now let me make a name for myself by just being Terrie.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's just the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If that's not the best clip that we're gonna use alone in this one, because that is true, right? You've brought so much skills and so much ability and so much knowledge from learning as you grew up in everything you did, and now you're like, I'm here to just tell it like it is.
Yeah.
For this, because you could have had it done when we started this conversation, some minutes ago. You talked about how well and things you didn't want for anything growing up. Can you imagine if that was just your entire life? You would just silver spoon and whatever it is your entire life and didn't have these life experiences. Not to say that that God wouldn't have had another calling for you. Right. Maybe it would have been something else, but your calling is to still be able to minister through your voice, through voice meaning vocally and speaking. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Your spirit is amazing. First of all, I have to say that. Ever since I met you, I remember your son was talking to me about you. And when you walked in, I was like, oh my God, I love her. I love her.
Oh, wow.
Your spirit is amazing. And I'm really big on, but that's what you're here for.
Yeah. 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 And then I didn't want to come off bitter. Cause it's a lot of women, they sit in this seat that I'm sitting in now and they come off bitter. I'm not bitter. And I know this is a cliche. I'm better. Yeah. I am. But as I was going through it, Torrin used to tell me and my son, you're a little cold. You need to kind of don't be so cold. And it's because I went through so much. So I had a wall up, I'm like, well, I've been doing this for so many years. I had to put a wall up. So, but now I'm relaxing in what it is. It is what it is. And he can go on with his life. And then not that I don't pray for him because he's gifted. He's gifted in what he does. But that's you, boo. I'm going to do me. Right. And right now it's time for me to do me. And I'm not out here to hurt anybody. I'm here to help, to encourage, to let people know that if I made it through, you can make it through. Yes, it was embarrassing. It was some serious embarrassing moments that I had to go through that I don't even know how I made it out. And then I didn't even tell my mother. And to this day, she will tell you, I haven't told her anything. She's going by what she heard. Because I don't like uncovering people. But now I'm getting to a point now, okay, I don't have to uncover you. I could just, sprinkle a little salt here, a little salt there, and then you season it, and then you see what it tastes like, and then you tell me what it tastes like. Because I went through a lot. It was so embarrassing, and it was so stressful when we moved to Los Angeles, because I told you, we moved a lot. I had to get on blood pressure pills. Because it shot my blood pressure up over the roof. And so I was on blood pressure pills. And I'm believing God by the end of this year, I'm going to be off of blood pressure pills. Yes. Because I've been on blood pressure pills for too long because of the stress of the marriage and church ministry, what goes along with ministry. Not loving God, but what comes along with ministry. It's a lot. Yeah. And so I'm good.
Yeah, a lot of health benefits come with simplifying your life. Yes. A lot of mental health, physical health. Yes. And everything comes with simplifying your life. And however that looks, some people downsize their life. Some people downsize people. Right. And, move away. And it seems like you've done both. Yeah. Like I'm moving away from the big organization church. Are you in a church here in Las Vegas, like a part of it?
I've been attending Christian Embassy since November. Have I joined? No. Love you, Bishop Connor and First Lady Connor. I love that church. But because I've been through so much, I don't even want to join there right now. I just go and I slide in on the front row and get a little word. And, some of the members like, when you going to join? And it's not that I have anything against the church. I love the church and I love the First Lady and the Bishop. I love them. I can relate. I enjoy everything about it. But I'm just, because I've been doing it for so long, I just want to chill. Yeah. I don't want any titles. I don't want you to ask me to do nothing. Don't ask me to do nothing. Yeah. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, you just want to come and be
just give me a word, fill me up.
Just in there, yeah. I'm coming to hear the word.
That's it. And that's all that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do.
And that should be enough. Here's the thing. Yeah. And I was big on going to church all growing up. I started off as a kid going to church, going with my friends. And then as I got older, really for right now, it's just really I say this is I'm more spiritual. I'm spiritual. Religious, I wouldn't say I don't need to be in any church. If I could be around monks, I can be around anybody else, but I can, feel the spirit and the Lord in me, within me. And that's all that matters. And so I can be here on a Sunday and just kind of watch it, either listen to it or watch a sermon that speaks to me. And sometimes it's not a bishop or anything like that. It's someone who is just speaking from their heart. It's somebody like you, who I can turn on online on social media and someone that speaks to me. And that's what that's all I've been looking for in a church anyway. Obviously, there's some stuff you just want to avoid online. But in a church, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the word. I'm looking for something that sparks something in me and says, you know what? Thank you. I needed to hear that today.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And I didn't go to church in this city until November. I mean, I had to sing at different churches and I would do that. But attending somebody's church, no. I was like, no, I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm good. I'm like you. The Spirit dwells within me. I will read my word at home and I'm good.
Absolutely.
But then when November swung around, they invited me to come to their church to sing for their church anniversary. And almost a month before that, the Lord had been speaking with me. It's like, I don't want you to go into the new year without finding somewhere where you can go periodically on Sundays, finding somewhere where they could cover you. And then I went to them to sing. And just that first Sunday, I sat there, I said, oh yeah, this is the place. And I just been going.
Good,
now,
good.
And I'm comfortable that if I don't go every Sunday, I'm fine with that. We were taught, this is what we were taught. You're not supposed to miss no Sundays. But I'm comfortable enough now within myself that I can miss 2 Sundays and I'm fine with that.
Okay.
And then I'll see you all the following Sunday.
Yeah, that sounds,
Because I got some stuff I got to do. But they used to always say, you're not supposed to do that. Don't be washing your car and washing your clothes on Sunday. I'm sorry. This Sunday's going to be Terrie's Sunday.
What it is.
Me and the Lord, we're going to talk, but Terrie's going to wash and she's going to do her clothes and she's going to do some other things that she wants to do. And if I don't want to do anything, then I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's my day.
Yeah.
Yes, the Lord's day. I'm going to reverence him, but I just won't be in a church building with you.
Yeah. The Lord blessed me with the home. The Lord blessed. So when I say the house of the Lord is with me.
Yeah.
When they say, if you can say that the Lord's with you, just pray, and wherever you are, just pray. I feel like I can do that, and I don't have to be inside of, with a congregation. Yeah. I understand, though, the congregation does give you, you're around amongst other people, not everyone, not 100% of the congregation,
right.
But not everyone, but they will cover you. So you're getting that covering.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and other people who believe in that same belief. However, there are so many things that I have different, and I am not traditional. I'm not a believer of everything I see or read or hear about. And so when that's pushed on me, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. It's not for me. Thank you, though. That's how I am. Like, thank you. And so I'm to all the people who go to church faithfully and every Sunday.
Bless you.
God bless you. And I didn't know people who, I think we even spoke about who go during the week, 7 days, 5 days a week.
I did it.
Yeah, that's not for me. We're just gonna keep praying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray on it though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray on it and make sure, I pray on planes and everywhere else. So we're gonna make sure I get that done. I'm also the type of person though, if I'm traveling and they have inside of an airport across, haven't seen it in the U.S., but outside of the U.S., they have prayer rooms.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I will actually seek out a prayer room.
Okay.
So I do seek understanding everywhere I go, and prayer and places to go and fellowship, or just be, praying and thankful that I'm there.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for I'm in Egypt right now. Thank you. Right.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Right. Those are kind of things that I like to do. We have so much. I mean, I feel like I don't know what's in store for you as far as not at the church. A lot of times church gives you opportunity to be able to speak and have a congregation, or I might be saying it wrong. You have a group of people to where you can lead a team or a class or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're not going to church on a regular basis, what do you feel that you would like to be able to do to keep on spreading the word? I'm going to try to spread this out as far and wide as I can, but what are you going to do to be able to keep spreading the word for people to just bless them with the knowledge that you have?
Definitely, I want to do women's woman empowerment. I want to definitely have like those type of conferences that go on maybe once or twice a year, where I can, bring women together. And then I don't want it to be just all women per se. I would love to have men involved, like a panel where we can kind of put men in there, because I just have this thing about when I grew up in the church, when you have women's conference and you got everything that a woman is saying, but then you don't hear what the man is saying. And then that becomes women become a little bit too headstrong. Yeah. And I'm still a woman. I'm still a lady. And I still believe that men should have a voice. I don't believe that women should shut their voices down and we should be, I am woman, hear me roar. No, that's not me. I do want to hear a man's voice. And I'm not bitter to that point where I'm so bitter that I don't want to hear what a man has to say. No, there are some good men out there. And even those that have gotten involved in stuff that they shouldn't have gotten involved in, I'm so open-minded now that some things come from childhood. Some things come because you were damaged. So because you were damaged, you haven't healed. So then you're putting that on somebody else. And I really believe that's what happened with me. They hadn't healed from some stuff that happened to them. So they brought it into the second marriage and they put that on me. So then I had to suffer because of what you went through. And so I try to keep that total mind thing where, and be open-minded about the struggle that people do. People do things for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to have women's conferences. Definitely going to continue to do music. Going to write a book not being hurt, but how you can move forward and you can excel no matter what age you are. I'm 57. Some women would stop and be like, I can't do it any longer. I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep going no matter what the age is. I'm going to stop when God tells me to stop.
Yeah.
So it's going to be in music. It's going to be in me having maybe different seminars where I can encourage women to, excel in their lives. And I'll go deeper in certain areas. I will go deeper because some women, they're going to want to know what happened, and I don't mind saying what happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially if it's in a space of more so people trying to use, so what did you do? What happened when this happened? What happened? What did you do in the course of it happened? How bad was, some people use it because they're trying to say, well, you know what, they use it and say, well, my situation's not that bad. Maybe I can work through this.
Yeah.
And what was your final moment? Because that was the question. What was your final moment? Like, I'm not doing this no more. Nope. Like, not anymore. And for me, final moments in everything I did when I decided, like, nope, here's my final moment when I decided to move to Vegas even. Yeah. Like, I was like, I've been here in California all my life. I wanted to stay for my friends and family members, and I don't know anybody, and I have all these excuses. And then COVID happened, and I'm sitting here by myself in the house, and I was like, nope, not doing this anymore. I'm in here in my own head, trapped in my own head, and knowing that I want to do something more. It's time to do it. Let's get up and go.
Yes.
And so this is going to be great. So women's conferences, men's conferences, you have the men as allies, which we all need. We need the men and women as our allies to be able, in that panel, I love that idea of doing a panel. When are you going to start this?
So that's what I was talking to you about, because I have to involve you, because a lot of things I don't know how to put certain things together. Some things I do know because from being in the church, but I don't want my stuff to be so church. I want it to be where the secular will want to come to. Matter of fact, I don't even want that to be my persona. Some people are still having a problem with me doing gospel and secular. Well, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm going to do because I love music.
Welcome to Terrie's world.
Come on.
Welcome to Terrie's world. Real world.
Exactly.
Real world Terrie edition.
Yeah. Oh, see, that might have to be all about Terrie. Change it to that.
There you go.
So I want it to always be where everybody can come together, bridge that gap, and because we're all God's children. I don't know why you all are separating it. We're all God's children. Nobody is out here perfect. Nobody is God's cousin. None of y'all. We all are his children. So let's just make room for everybody.
Yeah, and I see. So when you're talking like that, so I'm on the opposite side because I'm on the secular side for sure. I'm on the secular side, but I don't see it as, because you were raised to see it as different. I don't see it as, I'm like, come on, church folk. You coming, you're not, you're not.
Exactly.
And maybe it's just because the type of people, like friends that I have who are involved in church, weren't as involved. That's not, maybe it's probably exactly why. But just to be able to, like, we're going to be inclusive. We're going to all go out. We're going to do that. Because the goal of it at a women's conference, depending on what it's about, what is that about? Is it about breakthroughs? It could be a combination of everything.
Combination
of everything, right?
Yes.
What is it? What is this doing? What release are you trying to release? What are you trying to heal? What are you trying to remember? What are you trying to start doing? There's different conferences, and so that'd be great to start this. And I'm always here, whether it be on the mic or on stage or setting up or decorating or whatever you need me to help with doing. That's what this, the women kind of getting together, part of it is doing, and then again having those men allies to be able to support what we're doing. I love to hear a man's perspective on something.
Absolutely.
Especially, I can definitely be out of pocket sometimes. I can definitely be out of pocket sometimes. So to have a man give their perspective, and it's not coming by way of ego or anything like that, it's really just separated, especially when it's not a man that's like, oh, I know how you are. I love hearing a man's perspective who are like, I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you, but here's my perspective. If you as my woman came to me the way you're coming to me, or talking the way you're coming, or doing the things you're doing, here's what I have to say. And I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I got you.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
There's all those memes that talk about women who are out in the eyelashes or the this or the wigs,
yeah.
or the red, blonde, green wigs, and they were like, yeah, no, and I'm like, I mean, people are just being creative.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm doing. So, but I'd like to listen to that because it does have something to do with how we as women, we get together and we band together and we just cheer. We're cheerleaders. Women
Absolutely.
are such cheerleaders for each other. It could be something you'd be like, girl, don't do that. They will not tell you. Your friend is not going to tell you. Is that cute? Sometimes your friend or not. They're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to encourage you. I'm here for you. We are women. We are sister power. I'm going to encourage you to do and say everything you want to do. And sometimes they need to just tell you,
don't do that. Girl, that ain't it.
That ain't it. That ain't it.
Yes.
And so we need more of that. So as you work on your plan and your program that you're going to put together and your programs, because you're going to do more than one.
Oh, yes. Got to.
Those are things to keep in mind. Like what is this about? What are we trying to do? What kind of breakthrough? And who can be our supporters?
Exactly.
Yeah. We got to do this more. And we can do these at just ad hoc. These can be, part of what you're trying to do can be the ad hoc conversations to open up more and more. And I'm hoping that you were comfortable here.
I was.
You felt like you've opened up more and you've shared more. We will use this as a Terrie starting to open up.
Oh, okay. I like that. Okay.
Starting to open up because there's layers. There's so many layers.
Yes.
And with the time given that we have to do the show, we don't have all the time, but there's so many layers. I'd love for people to be able to reach out to you or just to be encouraged by you and just come and see you. Just come and see you do your thing on stage. And that just blesses me when I see you on stage.
And thank you for coming to my first Sunday gospel brunch.
And you're still doing that as well, right?
Still doing it. I got to. I'm going to continue to do it. I'm believing God that it will grow and get bigger and bigger. Yeah.
So brunch, first Sunday gospel brunch downtown Las Vegas.
Yes.
We will link all that information to here because I'm not sure when timing is going to come out, but we'll link all that information because that's an ongoing thing for you to be able to go out and what is it? Do your ministry by way of your voice.
Yeah.
For people. We love it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Terrie, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
For all of you watching, I will make sure you have all the details. I want you to share, subscribe this show. Here we are on YouTube. I am in the home studio with Terrie Rimson. Thank you again.